All right, you maggots, listen up. I'm really enjoying using this Logitech program. It allows me to zoom in and out the camera. It allows me to focus it. Anyway, uh, I tried the Logitech program over the years. It worked for a while. Then Windows would load their program and it would mess the Logitech program up. So I ended up just defaulting to the Windows program. And then recently, Windows did an update and my camera stopped working. So yeah, I don't spend my whole day anymore trying to get Windows working. I just walk away from it. I go use something else. I've had enough of Bill Gates and his fiasco. But anyway, I want to tell you about Radio Shack. And I worked there part time. First, I hung there for about a year, and then they hired me. I won't go into all that, but in other words, I was an electronic technician. Went to school, built almost every possible Radio Shack kit, repaired the kits that people brought back that didn't work. I was always in it. Every day I took stuff home from the store, fixed it, and brought it back. But anyway, I'd wear this badge. That's the badge that I used to wear. And it really didn't do any good with some of the people that would come in. So a guy comes in, and he says, I need a fuse. And he holds the fuse up. And I look and see a 1 amp. So I go over to the wall, and I take out it's a blister pack. And it's got 3 fuses. He says, I don't need 3 fuses. I just need 1 fuse. So I said, well, in order for them to make money, they have to sell 3 fuses. Because you're talking 3 fuses for 98 cents. Well, this guy started really being a jerk. And the manager didn't like that. So he gave the guy 1 fuse for free. So the guy goes out. Now, you got a picture of the guy's parked in the fire zone. That's the kind of person he is. He's in the fire zone, in front of the store. He puts the fuse in. He turns the radio on. He comes back and he says, that fuse is no good. And I'm like, what? The fuse is no good. It blew. I said, you know, when the fuse blows, that's telling you got a short. Well, how do you know it's not an open? I said, well, with an open, you don't have any current. You can't blow the fuse out. So the guy's really being obnoxious. I said, all right. So there's 2 more fuses left. We take a fuse, and I go out to the car, and the guy opens the passenger door, and I go in, I sit on the seat, and he's installing a radio. And the first thing I do is I look real quick at the manual, which you should do, and I realize that the radio can be put in a car that's either a negative or positive ground. So I said to the guy, I think it was a Ford at the time, and I think it was Ford. They had a positive ground. So I said, yeah. I said, you got the switch in the wrong position. Well, how do you know that? I said, look. I said, I'm going to put it in positive position, and I put the new fuse, and the radio come right on. Well, how come they don't tell you that? I said, they do tell you that if you read the instructions. And he got kind of nasty. He went in, and he complained to my manager. And he told my manager, he says, how am I supposed to know, but picture this, he bought the radio somewhere else. And now I'm being nice enough to go out there and help him fix the problem. He's got the switch the wrong way for the radio. And the reason I found it so fast was one of my uncles kept bringing me a truck radio that he kept blowing up. And he got a new truck. I said, look, it's possible the new truck has a negative ground. I said, most trucks. I think there were Mack trucks. It might have been Mack. It could have been another brand. But in other words, his trucks were always positive ground. And I'd repair his radios for him. But anyway, we won't go there. But anyway, my uncle kept blowing it up. And finally, I fixed the radio like 1 more time. And I put a note on it. And I made him go bring the note to one of the younger guys at work. And the guy says, yeah, the new truck is negative ground. So we flipped the button got flipped to negative, and or left on negative, and he put it on the radio works. So my uncle called up, yeah, the radio works now. Where's the money for all the parts you blew up? Yeah, you mentioned any of that? That's my mother's relatives. Thank God they're almost all dead now. Yeah, bring it to me. Keep complaining it's my fault. But I kept saying, you just got a new truck. Are you positive? Are you positive that the truck as a positive ground. And he wasn't. He wasn't. He got a younger guy, and the younger guy. See, they all had radios, and you couldn't have a truck with a radio in it. But they all had like vice grips and all kinds of clamps, and they had CB radios. And they would, when they got at work in the morning, they would rig up their radios. And he got a new truck, and instead of it being positive ground, it was minus, and he would hook the polarity up wrong and blow the output transistors and a bunch of other stuff. And I would just replace everything, put the radio on a power supply and let it work for 3 hours, give it back to him, he'd blow it up again. He was stubborn, and he knew everything, but he knew nothing. And then finally I said, look, get a guy at work. And the guy says, yeah, you got a new kind of truck. And it was negative ground. It could have been positive ground from a negative. I don't remember. But in other words, so having gone through all that, I'm at the Radio Shack. This guy thinks that a fuse basically can be bad. See, the fuse went bad because the fuse is bad, and not because he's got a short. So I went out there, and then I flipped the switch. I put a new fuse in. It comes right on. And then suddenly, well, why don't they tell you that? They did. The radio, right on it was made for minus or positive grounds. It's right on the manual that's the feature of that radio. You could use it in either kind of car. I think Volkswagens were 6 volts at that time, during that time. And that was another idiot. My radio ain't working right. So I go over there, and it's motorboating. And I'm looking at the radio, and he goes, look, when I hold the horn down, it stops motorboating. So I'm looking at the radio. I said, where'd you get this radio? It's junkyard. I said, this radio belongs in like a Cadillac. Yeah. Well, Volkswagen's 6 volts. Well, what should that matter? Now he's more worried about or wondering why when the radio's motorboating because it doesn't have enough voltage. And when he puts the horn on, it draws more voltage. Now it goes down into another level, and the radio stops motorboating. So I said, look, I went over, I took the radio over across the street, put the hood up on my car, hooked the radio real quick on my car battery, fired it up. Look, the radio works. I said, take this radio back and then get a Volkswagen radio. Oh, well, they wanted $20 more for a Volkswagen radio. Oh, so you bought the wrong radio, you put it in the car, and now you're over trying to get me to fix it. Well, isn't there something you can do to the radio to make it work on 6 volts? I said, no. I said, if it was a 6 volt radio on 12 volt system, I said I could put a regulator, but going the other way, back in those days, they didn't have those inverters that you can buy real cheap on eBay. But the guy's like, he bought the wrong radio. Now somehow it's my fault, and I'm supposed to be smarter now to fix the problem he caused. That's all I put up with. People can become really rude. And he's the guy that bought a boat, and he says to me, you got to come down to my house down the shore tomorrow. I want you to repair my boat. I said, I ain't driving all the way down in that traffic to fix a boat. I said, I don't own a boat. He brings the boat up. And I walk across the street and look at the boat. And it's got water damage all in the battery area. It's all rotted out. And I said, look at this. It was all bodged with cutting. And I said, you got a problem with voltage regulation? Yeah, I said, this module's it got salt water in it. Well, can you clean it? When salt water gets in something that's on, it's over with. And he's looking at me. Well, I bought this boat. You know, he's not going to tell me how much the boat costs, how much it's costing to dock it, how much it costs for the. We won't even go into the hitch. That nightmare. He hooked the hitch just to the bumper. He didn't put the straps in that go to the axles. So you can actually pull the bumper off the car with the boat. And people have done that. This is the stuff I put up with all the time. And I figured you might get a laugh at it. See, when you're a repairman, you deal with what people have done to something. And I guess doctors get stuck working on people that I was trying something. I can just imagine what they go through. And I went through all these knuckleheads. You know, they bring it to you after the fact, and then they go, well, I was trying something. Those are the worst anybody can say. I had one neighbor, he was saying to me, well, if I need any tools, I can borrow them from you. I said, no. Why not? So then I start telling him the last time I loaned a tool out and what the guy did to the tool. And I noticed he wasn't listening to me. I said, that's it. I said, no. I said, Yes has no meaning if no has no meaning unless if I keep saying yes to everybody. It's a guy I stop and talk to. I said, basically, I told him, my tools are basically the same as my penis. I don't loan it out. I think that's it. All right, that's it.